back to the show. This is The Law Show on CL 650.
Really, Dwayne, well done. Express yourself. Madonna talking about express entry. Well played, sir. On The Law Show here on CL 650. We have Gordon Maynard and Rudy Kischer, partners at MKS in downtown Vancouver with new digs at the corner of Granville and Hastings, right?
Yeah, 688 Hastings.
Next to the Burke's building.
Yep.
The iconic Burke's building there. Okay, so we're talking about immigration law and also on express entry, and there's a new paper that came out at the end of July refocusing on express entry. So these are, they're considering changes to the system. Because express entry was brought in under the Conservative government, new government, Liberals in power now, maybe some amendments made. What are the main things they're looking at?
They've made several suggestions of considered changes. One of them is to reduce the number of points that a person is awarded simply for having an LMIA work permit. Mm-hmm. Right now it's 600 points, and it guarantees you're going to be selected. So they're saying, let's reduce those points. You'll still be able to succeed, but you won't necessarily be guaranteed. And I think the idea behind that is suggested by the table they have of the top 10 invited occupations in 2015, and the top 2 occupations were food service supervisors and cooks.
So wait a second.
Typically,
I just want to say something. So you're telling me someone that comes in here to Canada and goes into this pool that we talked about, they're ranking much higher as a food service person in a restaurant.
If they have an LMIA work permit.
So if they have an LMIA work permit, and they come in here, and you're saying they're almost always going to get pulled out of the pool?
100%. So
you're telling me somebody that's making $10-12 an hour is superseding
so I have an executive.
An engineer.
I have lots of cases.
Well,
I have lots of cases where I have an intercompany transfer. So somebody works as part of, let's say, an international mining or engineering company. Comes here, they don't need what's called a labor market impact assessment because the company doesn't have to show that they can't find a Canadian for the job. They say this person helps international trade and globalization and Canadians' relationships abroad because he's coming from their head office in the States and he's going to come up here and bring his skills and knowledge and facilitate this global company, right? And facilitate global trade. So he comes in, he's making, let's say, $250,000 a year, and he doesn't need an LMIA. We put him in the system. In terms of the express entry pool, we put him in the pool. He gets into the pool, but he's sitting around 350 points, right? He's educated, he speaks English fluently, but he gets some experience for any work he's doing in Canada, and he gets work experience abroad, but he doesn't get that 600 points because the company, number one, isn't going to go advertise for his position, right? He's got the job. Mm-hmm. So how can the company go to the public, especially if it's a publicly traded company, say, oh, our VP, we're looking for a new one, apply for the job,
yeah.
Right? It's dishonest because they're not going to replace
somebody that's been approved by their board and all that, right?
So he's not getting the LMIA points. So he's sitting in the pool and he's coming to me, it's like, Rudy, why am I not immigrating? And then I have to explain to him that, the restaurant where he eats at, the Thai chef down there came over here on a labor market impact assessment, gets 600 points in the pool, has very limited education, maybe zero education, right?
Oh, hang on. Here's careful. Remember, they have to qualify to get into the pool. They have to be FSW, CEC.
So at CEC, they could have a basic level of a moderate level of English, zero education, and have worked in Canada for a year on an LMIA. So a guy that's making, as we see from the stats that Gordon pulled forward, making $12 an hour, now qualifies and leaps ahead of my guy who's an executive that's been sitting in the pool for 18 months now.
So that doesn't seem fair to me.
It's not fair.
So
this is a primary argument against the system is there's too much emphasis on the LMIA, and it's missing the students and the intercompany transferees, the senior executives, who used to qualify under federal skilled trade but don't get the CRA points. The CRA point system isn't working well. That's what needs adjustment.
It's not fair to Canada, right? I mean, the applicants... I'm not overly concerned as long as the procedure is fair. What matters is, are we getting the best for Canada, right? Is it fair to Canada? Because we should be getting the best applicants. And I don't think we are.
There's a lot of people want to be Canadians, right?
There's an unlimited number. I mean, and that's what I think sometimes the government consistently underestimates, the fact that you have people from all over the world that would love to move to Canada. We have no shortage of applicants, ever. I've been practicing now 20 years. Never do they say, we can't get people to immigrate to Canada. It never happens. We have lots of people that want to come to Canada.
So as a layperson, I would assume most Canadians would say, let's get the brightest and the best, right? But we also need people to make our sushi, or two, right?
Exactly. And I said earlier that simple answers to complex problems rarely work.
Yeah.
We want the right mix.
Sure.
We don't want to leave behind the people that we used to be able to get and we want to still get. And at the same time, we don't want to make them exclusively the applicants.
All right, so
we do want our sushi.
We framed the problem. So what is the possible recommendation to this?
So it's a series of recommendations, which again moves away from simplicity towards complex. One is to reduce the points, the emphasis that's been placed on LMIAs. Another is to give certain candidates credit for studies in Canada. This would address the issue with the students who are
absolutely
here. If they can get credit for their studies in Canada as opposed to the LMIA, then they might qualify and be selected out of the pool. They're talking about giving points to candidates who have siblings in Canada. Now, that's an interesting one. We have greatly reduced our dependency, or the dependency we used to have, on family class sponsorship. You used to be able to sponsor your family members into Canada, including your brothers and sisters. You can't do that anymore. But here we're looking at saying that we will give points if you have siblings in Canada. And that's an interesting one, and we'd like to get more information about that. They're talking about opening it up to some semi-skilled occupations, and this might be a reflection of the difficulty of FST candidates in the pool. And they're talking about exempting certain candidates from the requirement for an LMIA in order to get the offer of employment points. And this would address Rudy's concern with the senior executives in Canada. And that's a concern I have as well.
So from your side of the table, who deal on the front lines with people coming in or companies trying to pull people into the country, do you think this is the right way to go?
I think some of them, I think they're hitting some good, interesting points. I think lowering the amount of points you get for the LMIA, especially when the system right now is pulling people out at 450. What is the point of giving them 600 points? Maybe lower it to 200 to 300 points and make it representative that it's part of the picture, not the whole picture, the way it is right now. But I think what I see in the way, and we don't have the details yet, this is just an overview document, but I don't see where this government has said, well, we're not going to be taking these people. Right? What I see is you come here and go to school, it looks like we're going to make it easier for you to come in, right? Oh, you're in a semi-skilled job, we're going to make it easier for you to come in. We're going to add these people to the list, right? You have siblings, we're going to make it easier for you to come in. So who are we telling that we're not taking, right? We also saw an announcement, it wasn't an announcement, it was a town hall meeting in which which an assistant to the minister spoke at, and he spoke about a pathway. And I think we've heard Trudeau say that they want to see a pathway to citizenship or permanent residency for every temporary foreign worker. So does that mean? So
you mean the person that's picking fruit out in the Fraser Valley could have an avenue?
They haven't said that yet, to be fair to them. But when I see a statement like that, I think the debate has to be among Canadians. Are we comfortable with people coming as temporary foreign workers, working, and leaving and not having a pathway to permanent residency? What this government seems to be saying is we're not comfortable with that at all, and we want everybody to be able to immigrate. So then and have a pathway. And I think we're going to find a challenge if what you have in immigration is a total number every year set as a priority, and we're going to see this come out by the future shortly in terms of what is our total number of immigration. They have increased the number. Typically, for the last, under the Conservatives, it never went higher than about 280,000. The Liberals in their first year upped it to 305,000, and now they're talking about maybe that's not enough. And I've seen McCallum hint at that what he's seen through bringing in the refugees is that there's capacity to bring. Because when he went to the department kicked back and says we can't even process more than that. And what I'm hearing now is I think we want more immigrants, is what the McCallum says, or we should have. It's his opinion that maybe we should have a bigger immigration program. We should have more immigrants. And I don't know if we've seen that conversation. I haven't seen that justified from the minister yet, and maybe we're going to see that. But it's not a discussion that's been. I haven't seen a lot of Canadians coming and saying we need more immigrants.
Well, I would suggest most Canadians would say that the bar should be high to become a Canadian. I mean, if you want to become a part of our country, it should be I think, harder to come in than easier to come in because we need the brightest and the best. Now, that being said, we still need people to do, basic labor jobs, and that's part of the immigration. So what you're saying, Gordon, is we need that mix.
Yeah, I think we need a mix. And I understand Rudy's concern about numbers, but I think that we shouldn't be putting words in the government's mouth at this stage of the game. I think there's always going to be limits. There's always going to be fine print. For instance, in the express entry pool, there's a huge grouping of unselected applicants between the 300 and 450 mark point. And as soon as you drop down to 400 as being the selection number, all of a sudden there's a huge number of people who qualify. And that would put a great boost in the number of immigrants coming. And I don't think they can do that. You have to be careful to set your selection tools. You may well say we want more immigrants, but you don't say we're going to immigrate everybody. Mm-hmm. That's foolish. And I don't believe the government is saying that, not for one instant. And so we have to be careful about what we think is happening here. Mm-hmm. There's going to be tools used.
So let me just, if I'm reading between the lines here, you may be believing that the government is going to make it easier for those intercompany transfer, high-paying executives with a lot of foreign experience to bring their knowledge to Canada. So that would be a good group of people to bring in.
That's a great people.
You're going to have students that have invested time in Canada, learn the language, and want to start a career in Canada. That group should be moved through quicker.
Maybe not all of them. But I got to raise that question for you. Is it the fact that someone's coming here being educated here, is that enough? I think we have to look at the outcomes. And if you look at the government's paper that we just recently received, their annex talks about Canadian study experience and long-term benefits to that. And it's short-term, medium, and long-term. It's either negative or zero impact.
So that brings up the red flag. Are foreign students coming here to get a pathway to citizenship just to have that passport of convenience, and then they take their knowledge back to China, for example?
I think that the bigger concern is that if you say that you simply have studies here and you should have a pathway to permanent residence, which ultimately can lead to citizenship, that's too simple a statement. I mean, the table that Rudy is pointing to says that Canadian study experience has very little impact on your future success. On the other hand, the level of education has a very significant impact. So I think maybe what we should be saying is that people who come here and engage as foreign students into high-level studies, so at the university level, at the legitimate college level, not foreign language schools, not private schools.
But that's what we're seeing is a lot of people coming and going to foreign language schools, and then getting that pathway, and then once...
Well, we don't know that pathway is there yet. Well, right now you have designated learning institutions. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can only get a study permit if you're a designated learning institution. So my concern... You can only get a postgrad work permit
if we have a designated institution, for example, let's say it's a second-tier school in Vancouver that's on that list, why should that person get more points than somebody who's got an Oxford degree or an MIT degree? Why would we not take the top-level foreign educated person who has the potential to actually have a high-paying job
and maybe more work experience
and more work experience, and opposed to giving a lot of points to someone who's spent money here, been here, and hasn't been able to actually get a skilled job that offers them, or even if it's a skilled job, a job that's offering them the medium wage. I think Canadians are going to feel uncomfortable with that if you see your kid is trying to get ahead, and those jobs that are paying less than the median wage are going to foreign nationals. I think that's going to raise a Canadian concern if we open that door too widely.
Well, that's a limited number of Oxford and Cambridge graduates to select from. If you want to make that rule, we'll have a very low selection.
We never have a problem with people applying. So.
Rudy Kischer and Gordon Maynard joining me in studio from MKS. They're partners at MKS in downtown Vancouver, immigration lawyers, and we're going to continue our conversation on The Law Show right here on CL 650.
There's more of the show still ahead. This is The Law Show on CL 650.